World War II, also known as the bloodiest war in history. A war that would perish the souls of 55 million civilians and 25 million soldiers. A war that would forever scar the history books of our civilization.
Deutschland, wir siegen!
Heil, Heil, Sieg, Heil!
Unser Ziel ist es, ein starkes, vereintes Deutschland zu schaffen. Wir kämpfen für Freiheit, zu unserer Kultur und Volk. Gemeinsam werden wir alle Deutschlandes. Deutschland, wir siegen!
Heil Hitler! Heil Vaterland!
Heil Hitler! Heil Vaterland!
As Britain and France declare war on Germany, the Nazis decide to launch a surprise attack, a blitzkrieg. Blitzkrieg, also known as the Lightning War, was a tactic used by the Nazis during the early stages of the war. Using lightning speed, the Germans broke through the outdated French defenses called the Maginot Line, and because of that, France fell in only 46 days. In the frozen winter of 1942, the city of Stalingrad became the focal point of one of the most brutal battles in human history. The German army, seeking to secure the oil fields of the Caucasus, launched a massive offensive, determined to take the city that bore Stalin's name. The streets of Stalingrad turned into a hellscape of destruction. Bombers reduced the entire district to rubble, and soldiers fought for every inch of ground, through shattered buildings, underground sewers, and open squares. Civilians, caught in the crossfire, endured unimaginable suffering. Despite the relentless German assault, the Soviet defenders refused to surrender. Their rallying cry, "Not one step back," echoed through the ruins as they clung to the Volga River, their last line of defense. As the bitter cold set in, the tide began to turn. In November 1942, the Red Army launched Operation Uranus, encircling the German Sixth Army in a massive counteroffensive. Trapped and starving, the Germans faced a grim reality. Hitler ordered them to fight to the last man, but the resistance crumbled as supplies ran out and temperatures plunged. By February 2, 1943, the battle was over. Stalingrad had endured, but at a staggering cost. Over 2 million soldiers and civilians had perished in the siege. The Soviet victory marked a decisive turning point in the Second World War, shattering the myth of the German army being invincible and paving the way for the eventual liberation of Europe. Stalingrad was not just a battle, it was a symbol of resilience, sacrifice, and unyielding human spirit in the face of unimaginable horror. In 1937, Japan launched a full-scale invasion of China, plunging the region into chaos. As Japanese forces advanced, brutal campaigns like the Nanking Massacre shocked the world, but international condemnation did little to deter their ambitions. The outbreak of World War II in Europe in 1939 created new opportunities. With European colonial powers distracted, Japan quickly moved to occupy territories rich in oil, rubber, and other resources. By 1941, the Japanese Empire stretched across Korea, Manchuria, parts of China, and Southeast Asia. On the morning of December 7, 1941, Japan made its decision. Without warning, waves of Japanese aircraft struck the US Pacific Fleet, stationed at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. Bombs and torpedoes rained down, sinking battleships and killing over 2,400 Americans. The attack was swift, devastating, and intended to cripple the US naval power. However, Japan's expansion brought it into direct conflict with the United States. When the US imposed economic sanctions, including an embargo on oil, Japan faced a critical choice: halt its conquest or take bold action to secure its ambitions. Japan's expansion reached its zenith in early 1942, with victories in the Philippines, Malaya, and the Dutch East Indies. Yet its overreach set the stage for fierce Allied counterattacks. The surprise at Pearl Harbor galvanized the American war effort, marking the beginning of a relentless campaign to turn the tide in the Pacific. The attack on Pearl Harbor was not just a tactical strike, it was a turning point. It awakened a sleeping giant, setting the stage for a conflict that would reshape the Pacific and the world.
Scheiße ist! Was ist das? Ihr alle? Achtung! Heute haben wir die Nachrichten erhalten, dass der Überführer tot ist. Der Krieg ist zu Ende und das Vaterland liegt in Trümmern. Heil Führer, Heil Vaterland.
Heil Führer, Heil Vaterland.
Dankeschön.